Have you ever seen those pictures of people who have been married for a long time who have started looking like each other? It's a strange phenomenon, and it may not be good news for some of you out there, but there's actually science behind it. We actually become like the people we spend the most time with. Who we're with determines to one degree or another who we become, and in some cases, who we look like. This is the reason parents always tell their kids to choose their friends wisely, because we become like who we're with. It's the same reason we have to be mindful of the people that we work with and spend time with, because we become like who we're with. And I think it's the same reason God gave us the church, people to gather with and do life with, because we become like who we're with. What's interesting is that from the very beginning, the church gathered. In fact, you may not even know this, but that's what the word church means. It's a gathering. The church is not a building, it's not a place, it really doesn't even have an address. Wherever the people of God gather, there is God's church. And when the first church began to gather, it's interesting to see what they did. They gathered to worship and they gathered to pray. They gathered to learn and they gathered to give. They gathered to eat and they gathered for communion. They gathered at the temple and they gathered in homes. I don't know about you, but that's really interesting to me. Well, because there are some people in the world today who say they believe in God, but they don't need the church. They have faith in the Creator, but they don't have any need for the other people He created. They worship Jesus, but they would rather just worship alone. Yet gathering with God's church is exactly what people who believe in God do. It's what the people of God have always done. We gather. And as we gather, we become a fellowship of people who are being saved. At First Colony Church of Christ, we say it this way. We want to gather in large groups to praise and in smaller groups to connect. We believe it is vital for you as a disciple of Jesus to gather with God's people on a regular basis, to worship and praise the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, to join the unceasing and unending worship of heaven that echoes the anthem, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty without end. And we believe it is vital for you, for us, to gather in smaller groups, to connect with one another, to love one another, and to do life together. The truth is, God knew we would need to gather. We need God, absolutely, but we also need each other. We need the church. Why? Because we become like who we're with. I hope you'll join us this Sunday and invite a friend to come with you. Have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you soon.